Good morning, class. So let's start with our SAP Business Warehouse, which is session 1 today with the part 2. So as we spoke earlier, there are different versions in SAP Business Warehouse. Starting from first, we do have different naming conventions: Business Warehouse, Business Information Warehouse, Business Intelligence, with different versions like 2.0A, 3.0A, 3.0B, 3.1C, 3.5, and then we have 7.0 with further versions 7.3. So till 3.5 it is Business Warehouse or Business Information Warehouse, where at 7.0 SAP has changed the naming to Business Intelligence. Later, Business Objects was acquired by SAP. The naming convention was changed to Business Warehouse back again. There's no more BI, it's BW. Okay, so yesterday we spoke about the ERP basics of some data warehouse concepts. Right, so let's get into the business warehouse and we will go in depth to understand how this data warehouse is, how the business warehouse or any business is basically getting the reports from SAP BW from their particular data, which is in the data warehouse. So let's start with to understand first of all what is SAP Business Warehouse. Right? It is a data warehouse system. We have different systems of data warehouse systems. Coming to SAP BW, this is also a data warehouse system, and it is a decision support system. So it's a data warehouse system, and it's called as decision support system. So I told you yesterday what is a data warehouse. It is the collection of historical data from different applications. The collection of historical data from different applications. Now, what do we mean by these applications? There are different applications. For example, if you want to analyze the data of sales, you would have the sales data which is in different applications, like it would be a sales application. If you want to go for purchasing, it would be a purchasing application. If it is something which is related to production planning, it would be a production system application. So all these are different application systems, right? Now, SAP, we also have different application systems. So various application system in that it is like subcategorized. I mean, it's like a package. Why do we call as a ERP package? Because a package contains different categories. I mean, different features in that. For example, if I have a bunch of things, I can just put them into a container and say it is a complete package. If you pay something, you would get this complete package. So that is how it is. Okay. All right. So, what is our SAP? First of all, uh, okay, I'm sorry. It's basically a business suite, which is a bundle of business applications that provide integration of information and processes, right? So, so in this way, in SAP ERP, that is Enterprise Resource Planning, which incorporates the key features of a particular business of an organization. So coming to this application systems in SAP ERP package. All right, we have different application systems like sales and distribution, material management, production planning. So these are different application systems which are available in our SAP ERP system. Okay. Now we do have another system which is a CRM, likewise customer relationship management, supplier relationship management, likewise different application systems. Basically, when you talk for about a business analysis of a particular organization, you need to have, you are not sure that always it should be an application system of SAP, but it might be from somewhere else. So we do have something called as non-SAP application systems. We will talk about what is this non-SAP application systems. Okay. First of all, let me tell you, SAP BW, it is a hybrid OLAP system. Now, I told you yesterday a concept of OLTP and OLAP systems. So I will relate those particular systems now. All these application systems would have their day-to-day transactions. If I take about the sales one, I have the complete sales data of today or the next 1 hour, or I will get the data of next 1 hour or last 1 hour. So all the transactions will be in our OLTP system. As I told you yesterday, OLTP system would store all the current data like day-wise transaction. So in turn, these application systems are the OLTP system, which is online transaction processing system. Okay. And this contains the day-to-day transactions. For example, ATM machines, booking of your tickets, right? So all the current transactions, it would be stored in your OLTP system. Now, if you consider the sales and distribution is holding the sales data that is available from your SAP application. If there is some other data in a different application system, then you need to consider your non-SAP application systems. Now, why it has been divided into SAP and non-SAP application systems? Basically, whenever you have some data available within your system which you are aware of, that means there would be a complete transparency or complete what do you call a privilege where you can just get the data very easily in a different way. In the similar way, if you don't have the data in your own applications, then obviously you have to go with some other non-applications. Here we are on the SAP Business Suite, so that is the reason it is SAP applications and non-SAP applications. Now, if you consider the same sales and distribution, this holds the day-wise transactions. Right? So all this data is stored. As I said, in our SAP ERP package, we have different application systems. Right? If it's technical, then it would be ABAPs. And we do have application systems. If it is a functional modules, we have logistics application systems. In that we have the sales and distribution, material management, or production planning, or different management systems, application systems, sorry. And if you go with accounting, we have finance, which is FI. In turn, we do have accounts receivable, accounts payable, general ledger, special ledger. And we do have something called controlling, where you have product cost controlling, general cost controlling. So this is a SAP ERP system, and as I said, we have SAP CRM system and SAP SRM system likewise. So based on different application systems, we get the necessary data, which has to be provided included in our reports as per our client or user requirements. Now let's talk about non-SAP system, non-SAP application systems. In fact, we do use non-SAP application system to get the data from that particular application systems. So what are the types of non-SAP systems? If it is a database system, it might be Oracle, uh, mainframes is a database systems likewise. And if it is a file system like Excel, Notepad. If it is XML system, I have alright. So this is about your data warehouse, which is the collection of historical data from application systems, and these are all these application systems. Now let's look at with decision support system. Now, as we are now completely aware of what is a data warehouse system, now let's talk about our decision support system, the DSS. For example, if you are a manager in your company, and if you want to analyze the performance of your employees during an appraisal time, you won't go with his last 1 day performance or last 1 hour performance. You would definitely analyze his whole 1 year performance. So for that, you need to definitely go with his historical performance. So then when you talk about historical data, then the concept of your OLAP system comes into the picture. Our SAP BW is one of the hybrid OLAP system. So based on that particular historical data of your employee, you would be analyzing his performance, and you have different sessions to analyze the performance, and you have a proper forecast of how it would be in the future. So it is something which is giving you a base or a support to take some decisions on your business. So that is the reason this is a decision support system for a better business performance. So now it would be under the OLAP system, which is online analytical processing system. That is our BW system. Our PI system, as I said, BW, so please follow BW. Now this is a reporting system which generates the reports as per the needs of the organization. Just add this, it generates the required reports. Whatever is your requirement, based on that and based on your organization needs, the reports will be generated. So that is the functionality here. So in this scenario, if you consider, when you try to get the data from your OLTP system, there are some application systems, right? In a similar way, again it comes to the same picture where there are different business applications. Now what is these business applications? These are all your business applications. So whenever you have some data which is from your OLTP system, definitely when it becomes a historical data, this particular systems would always have the business applications would always have your historical data. From that particular historical data, from that OLAP system, there is a proper methodology where we would extract our data. So now let's talk about the business application with a particular example. Alright, consider there is a sales manager who wants to analyze his sales. If it is sales, then definitely I would go with the sales and distribution, where that is a business application again, where the role of my manager, that is a sales manager. Okay. Now, what is his role? What is his need? Is basically he wants to analyze his next quarter sales. So if he wants to analyze his next quarter sales, definitely he need to have certain information about his previous historical sales. So based on that, he would be able to analyze his next quarter sales, or he would be able to take some decisions as how to improve his next quarter sales. All right. So if in that particular case, if he, what information does he need? Let's take into some consideration, like he might need last quarter sales, okay, or year to date sales, or year on year sales, or last 12 months, you know, cumulative sales. Now you might ask me something, if my OLTP system is holding the day-wise transactions, how this would be in your OLAP system. Basically, in your OLTP system, as I told you, the day-wise transactions are recorded or been stored. When it comes into OLAP system, these particular data would be in an aggregated form. Alright, that would be available in your OLAP system. So as per your need, whenever you want, you would pull the relevant things. Alright, so once the manager here, now coming back to the example, once the manager here has the relevant information to take a better analysis of his next quarter sales, what he would do is, to get this information of the previous historical sales, he would generate a report, right? That is through our BI system. All right. So once the report is out, he would be in a position to take a decisions on his sales. Likewise, for material management, if you go with the inventory, it is completely with the purchasing. So the responsible would be a purchasing manager. If it is a production planning, it would be production manager. Likewise, you have HR and finance applications and many applications which we discussed earlier. So now you should be able to understand what is this OLAP and what is this OLTP systems, and how the data is available and from which applications, and what is our functionality and what we do in this. Now let's say the data we have, whatever is required, is in a specific application. So what we're going to do after this, once the data is in particular application, we need to basically get some data into our database, into our warehouse. As I told you, SAP itself is a OLAP, a hybrid OLAP system. Basically, if you take into a picture, different warehousing systems would have a different type of extractors. For SAP, we have our ABAP extractors, where we do have our internal extractors here, where we are relied on that. Now let's talk about the concept of the terminology as how the functionality is built. All right. For example, let's consider we have the data in our OLTP system. All right. I want to move the data to our data warehouse, which is internal ABI system, because I told you SAP BW is a OLAP system, hybrid OLAP system. Once I have the data in my BI, in my particular data targets, I would be generating the reports. Once the report is generated, I'm ready to publish it. I will talk about publish later. To get this data from your OLTP system to your SAP BW, there must be something, an interface, a medium, right? So that is basically called as ETL. An ETL is, if you expand it, it is extraction, transformation, loading. Okay. What is an extraction? What is a transformation? What is a loading? I will be talking about these concepts whenever it comes into the picture. All right. As I told you, OLAP is online transaction processing system, which has the application systems that holds the day-to-day transactions. And the application systems might be SAP systems, and it might be non-SAP systems. From there, I would be getting the data. Through ETL, it will be moved to your warehouse. So let's talk into real-time scenario. If a salesman, if a sales manager, let's take into the previous examples. If a sales manager wants to analyze the last 3 years data, right, he would be then considering the OLAP system because it holds the historical data. In that particular way, when you try to analyze your data, right, in your OLTP system, it holds the real-time data. In general, max of 6 months. All right. Through ETL, we move the data into our warehouse, which has a historical data. That is, which is nothing but our BW system. Right. In our BI systems, we provide the multi-dimensional reports. So once the multi-dimensional reports are ready, then we go ahead and publish those reports or distribute those reports in different mediums, in different ways, like through an email or through a text, through a cell phone, or printing it. If you book a ticket, you would receive an email and you will also receive a text message. Also, you will receive a printed an option to print your report. Now it is this is how you publish it. Now it is user requirement how he needs it. If I want to print, I would take the print instead of checking with my email and my mobile, right? So that is how you publish it. So once the data is available, right, then you move them into your data warehouse using the ETL method. So this particular portion here, this portion, when you try to get that particular data into your ETL, is called as extraction. Different data warehouse systems would use a different type of ETL tools. All right, like Informatica, we have different type of extractors where we depend on our SAP ABAP extractors, where we do have our own extractors. Okay, now let's talk about the BW system and how it is basically designed. So I mean to say the architecture, okay, architecture of your business warehouse system. So first of all, consider a bridge. For example, if you have two endpoints A and B, if a person wants to move from endpoint A to starting point A to an endpoint B, there must be a bridge between these two so that he can travel. So if I consider this as a medium and establish a bridge, then he would be able to travel. So this particular medium here I'm saying as interface. All right. So what is an interface? It is a platform. It is a platform which all right, let me put this. It's a platform using which two systems can communicate with each other. All right. All right. Now you have to understand why did I get this information. Now why I have pointed out on this interface. As I told you, we have our own extractors where we try to get the data from the source to our warehouse. So this OLTP is having our data. So that means this is our source. Correct? Because in our OLTP there are different type of applications from where we are trying to get our data, which is our source. It might be SAP applications and it might be a non-SAP applications. Now, if it is OLAP system, it is still the same. The data is in aggregated form and different applications, and using the ETL method, we would get the data into our business warehouse. That is our SAP system, which is in turn a OLAP system, our SAP BW system. So, to get this data, I'm using an extractor which I'm trying to pull the data into my warehouse. For example, let's take the same concept. A person wants to travel from a starting point A to starting point B. He is using to travel. He is using this interface. Let's think this particular interface as a bridge. All right. This is helping him to travel. But there must be something which uh, which has to trigger to tell that person, okay, you have to go till there. Now, what is that? That is basically called as that is basically your extractor. Right? This is your interface. This is a medium for the traveling. Now, that is the extractor is something which triggers. Okay, now you have to go. That triggers something which triggers. For example, if you want to send a file from one cell phone to a different cell phone using the Bluetooth technology, here when you try to send the it is establishing a bridge, right, between the two cell phones onto certain medium, right? When you say send, that means you are triggering the that particular file to go travel into the Bluetooth through the Bluetooth, and it receives your destination. In the same way, when you try to extract, there must be something which should help the data to travel into your business warehouse system. Now that is your interface. Okay. Now that interface it depends on different application systems, because here we are only talking about two different kinds of application systems, which are SAP and which are non-SAP. In SAP we do have different application system, and if it is a non-SAP application system, there are again different applications in that. So now I'll tell you what is the type of interfaces we use if it is a SAP or if it is a non-SAP applications. Okay, so let's get into that. As a quick recap again, SAP applications, as I discussed earlier, it might be a ERP system or it might be a CRM system or it might be a SRM system likewise. We use an interface called BAPI, which is a business application programming interface. Using this, we move the data into our SAP BW. I just want to make it little, much decorative and poor in that, but please try to adjust with this. Okay. So what is the interface? SAP Business Application Programming Interface, which we use. This particular interface to move that particular data from different applications into our business warehouse system. Now it is a non-SAP application system, like if it is a database system. What are the database system we spoke? Like Oracle or mainframes. The interface will be always database connectors. Okay. If it is a file system like Excel or Notepad, the interface will be always a file interface. If it is a XML system, the interface will be XML interface. Now remember one thing, you don't get confused with these interfaces, because interfaces are just for your understanding. I mean, this is a concept, but still you don't need to worry about how you have to get this interface. This will be done by your basis team. All right, I will tell you who are the teams in your SAP. This is done by your basis team. Okay. All right. So now, I'm sorry. There is one more interface, one more system. If it's a multi-dimensional system like Hyperion, the interface will be Universal Database Connector, which is UDC. Okay, this is the interface. Fine. So what is our target here? Our target is our SAP Business Warehouse. So where are we moving it? To SAP Business Warehouse. From where? From our SAP ERP system. Just an example. It might be SAP CRM as well. Right? Using the particular interface to SAP Business Warehouse. That is what we are doing here. So now you understood how the data is moved to SAP Business Warehouse. So now consider that our data is in our SAP Business Warehouse. So in our application also there would be some starting point and an ending point. Consider the starting point is something once you try to pull your data. When you are pulling your data, that means you have to send the data to a particular target in different methods. What are those methods? I will talk to you. As I said, I would be telling you the teams. So let me just give you the teams of what we have in SAP. We have our technical team, who's the ABAP, as programming of the business suite was done. We have our functional team, which is the SD, MM, PP. Likewise, we have our BI BW consultant team. We have our basis team. As I said, the interface will be taken care of them. These guys are the administrative people. And also there is something called security. Likewise, for the privileges, as who is authorized to view certain information, that comes under part of your security. All right. So that is your those are your teams. So the next, as I told you, how this particular data, once it is in your SAP BW, how you have to move it to your targets, that I will be discussing in your next session. So please go through this video once again and get back to me if you have any more doubts on this. Okay, and thank you once again for watching the video, and we will be discussing in the next session.